Hey guys, glad to stop by, as always. So today, I thought for dinner we would do a chowder. We haven't done chowder in forever. And I think the last one we did was a chicken and corn chowder, but I was thumbing through, I don't remember what I was thumbing through, recipes online, but I don't remember whose website offhand. I'd have to look, but anyhow, I found this shrimp and corn white chowder that just sounds amazing, and I can't get it out of my head. So I thought we'd make that today. Why not? It sounds amazing. The same page has a link for a lobster chowder also, which I would truly like to try. But this one, this shrimp and corn is also a Chipotle style chowder. You can't go wrong with Chipotle. I love Chipotle personally. I know it can be hot, and we can substitute things with it. I'm pretty sure, at least find a way. Even if you just use Cajun seasoning instead of the adobo sauce, it would at least give you that hint of flavor in there. But I think this is going to be really good because it does not have a whole lot of chipotle pepper or adobo seasoning in it, or sauce in it, just enough to kind of give it that flavor, more so than the heat. But all the same, I think it's going to be amazing. It has a fair amount of ingredients, but they're all things you probably have in your pantry. I mean, realistically, or at least readily available and not horribly expensive at the grocery store. The shrimp was probably the most expensive thing, and it wasn't all that bad, really. Shrimp is actually almost cheaper than chicken and ground beef. Crazy. But anyhow, if you are new to my channel and this is your first video, welcome. I'm glad you stopped by. If you so inclined, maybe check out some of the other videos. We got a lot to choose from. Over 500 videos. Lots of variety in food. If you are returning or one of our new subscribers, welcome back and thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. That's important. It's so important. That keeps the channel growing, right? It keeps our neighborhood growing. And that's important, right? That means that we're still inclined to be good neighbors through food and communication. And I think that's awesome. Like, subscribe, share, comments, always welcome. I respond to all of them. It doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or indifferent. I will respond. The only thing I ask is you think before you type, and you are kind. It's okay to disagree. Hands down, I encourage, conversation. But let's be polite. That's the only thing I ever ask. And so far, we're batting pretty much 1,000 on that. It's not like anybody's done anything wrong or, somebody's been rude. I would let you know if they did. But all the same. While we head on down here to the counter, I will give you your measurements in tablespoons, teaspoons, and cups. I'll also give them to you in grams and milliliters, so that way, no matter where you're at, we can play along. So, let's get on down here to the counter and get started. All right, hold on for me just 1 second. All right, we are down here at the counter. So, first thing, the only thing we'll really need to make this with, other than the ingredients, obviously, will be a large pot, or a Dutch oven, stock pot. I have found with Dutch ovens, it has to be at least a 6-quart or a larger Dutch oven in almost every case, or you're just going to be looking for another pot to put it in. But I've got a 9-liter or about a 10-quart pot right here that I'm going to put in. Mine's wide, it's not tall. That way we can kind of get things going. I need a large surface because the first thing we're going to do after we turn our pot on is we are going to add, we're going to start with 4 strips of thick cut bacon, which is about 190 grams. I mean, it's a fair amount of bacon, or about 1/4 pound, a little over 1/4 pound, 1/3 pound of bacon. But like I said, it's 4 healthy, thick cut bacon strips. And we're gonna go ahead and get that in there. And I've already got it turned, I just turned the stovetop on. We're gonna cook this on medium high, well, medium to medium high, because we're gonna wanna saute our first round of vegetables. On top of that bacon, which is not a vegetable, I know what you were thinking. You're like, Ryan, that's not a vegetable. That is a chicken or pig. I'm sorry, I'm just playing with it. There might be somebody out there that really doesn't know, because bacon comes from a couple different places. You can get beef bacon, you can get pork bacon. But anyhow, I digress. You will also need 1 cup. Now, when it comes to the vegetables, I'm just going to tell you what I cut up. It's going to vary depending on the size of your onion, the size of your carrots, things of that nature. But I got one medium onion. It gave me 1 cup, 150 grams worth of onion, and I just got them chopped up. You know, not quite fine, but not, you know, big, but chopped all the same. And we'll get those in there. I have got the equivalent of 1 large celery stick if you were going to do it that way, but it's actually 3 small celery sticks, and it's 90 grams worth of celery. You'd want 1 large stalk or 1 cup, you know, is what it comes down to. These are all 1 cup. And then 1 cup of carrots diced up, and also about 95 grams right there. And it's 1 large carrot, couple medium to small carrots, but it's 1 cup's worth all the same, about 90 grams. And we'll get that in there. And then we are going to go ahead and we are going to cook this on our medium to medium high heat, medium heading towards medium high heat, for about 5 minutes until our onions become translucent and everything starts to soften up and our bacon becomes crispy. Alright, so we are now translucent. We got all that flavor at the bottom of the pot. I'm so excited. You know, our bacon isn't quite as crispy as I thought it would be. Now, I think next time I will cook the bacon for a few more minutes prior to adding the vegetables. It doesn't say to do that in the recipe, but that's alright. So the next thing we're going to do, I've got 2 cloves, 18 grams worth of garlic, or 2 teaspoons worth of garlic if you're using like pre-minced garlic, and which, I mean, is a thing. I would do it, but it's just in a way cheaper to buy regular garlic, but and crush it, run it through a press. But anyhow, we are going to go ahead and we're going to cook this garlic in here with it for all of like 10 seconds, 20 seconds. You want to get it to where you can smell it. Like right now, I can already smell it. Bottom of the pan was hot, you know, but you don't want to let it sit. You let it sit, you'll end up making it bitter. Garlic, when it burns, becomes bitter. So now we are going to add 4 cups, 2 pints, 960 milliliters of chicken broth. Now, the original recipe called for a low sodium chicken broth. I am using a no sodium chicken broth because I don't put salt in my chicken broth when I make it myself. That way I can cut back the salt. So I got that in there. I'm going to give that a good stir around and start getting some of that off the bottom. Now that fondant? I can't remember what it's called now. The bits on the bottom, they will come off with the liquid as this cooks also. So I've also got 1 bay leaf, right? Throw that in there. And I've got 1 teaspoon, 1 gram worth of dried thyme. Now, if you want to use fresh thyme, you most certainly can. Use a half a teaspoon, or about a half a gram, I guess it would be. I don't know what the weight would be on fresh, but it's a half a teaspoon of fresh. So that way, is that right? No, scratch all of that. If you're using fresh thyme, it will be 2 teaspoons. You want to double it. Anytime you have to convert from fresh to dry, you cut the amount in half. But we got our teaspoon of dried thyme in there and our bay leaf. Give that a good stir around. And we're going to follow that up with 1 cup of potatoes, cut up, diced, cubed, chopped up, not in smaller pieces too. Nothing I chopped up today is small. It's almost like a large dice, small chop. I never have understood the size variations when it comes to what is chopped, what is diced. I know what fine diced is, minced, things like that, but I don't know if there's an official size to that. So the last thing we're going to add to this right now is going to be our chipotle pepper, and I've got a little bit of adobo sauce in there, adobo sauce in there with it. It comes packed with it, in it. The cans look similar. I mean, this is a brand name. It's Lacostina. But there's several companies out there, so you obviously will pick your favorite one. But if you don't have a favorite or you've never had them before, they're just Chipotle peppers, but they're in a sauce, an adobo sauce, and they'll come looking like that, and they'll be in a sauce, and they're really good. They are kind of spicy, but I've got one chili pepper in here, and oh, I know I weighed it, but I don't remember what it was. 30 grams was the weight in this case, so it wasn't very big at all. It wasn't the smallest in the container, but it wasn't the biggest. And since we're not using the whole container, you can put that in a Ziploc baggie, a freezer baggie, and put it in the freezer. It'll last 8 months. I've never had to throw one away, a can away. I just put it in the freezer, and when I need a Chipotle pepper, I pop it out of the freezer, thaw it, cut it up. They are easier to cut when they're frozen, but we've got this in here. Now I'm going to let this simmer. I'm going to bring it up to a boil, down to a simmer, like we do with most things, and we're going to let this go for about 10 minutes. We want to get those potatoes soft. Okay, so we've been about 10 minutes, maybe a little longer, a little less. I haven't really been paying that much attention, but what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and pull out one of our potatoes and we will set it here on this makeshift plate, right? And we will see, yep, see, that's exactly how easy that went in. That's what we want. That means we are fork tender, right? We're almost good enough to be mashed potato status, but that's what we want it to be, is fork tender. So we'll go ahead and get that back in there. So now what we're going to add to our pot is going to be 1 cup, 100 and might just be 100, yeah, 140 grams, 1 cup, 140 grams of sweet corn, or yellow corn. And it is, this was frozen. I just let it thaw a little bit. You can use frozen corn, canned corn, fresh corn. Although if you're going to use fresh corn, I would, you may need to cook this a little longer than normal, because your fresh corn will be fresh. It won't be pre-cooked. But anyhow, 1 cup, 140 grams worth of frozen yellow corn, sweet corn, corn, whatever kind of corn you like, you can use. And then I am going to add 1 cup, another 140 grams worth of red bell pepper, sweet pepper, right? And I've got it chopped, also diced. And we're going to put that in there like such. And then we will take our giant wooden spatula, spoon spatula, and give that a good mix real quick. And then we're going to make a slurry of 2 cups of all-purpose flour, or 2 cups. Ooh, that'd be a lot. 2 tablespoons, 18 grams, 9 grams a tablespoon of all-purpose flour. And then I've got a 1/4 cup, which is 60 milliliter of just room temperature water. We're going to put that in there on top of the flour, and then we're just going to give this a good mix. It's no different than you would use if you were doing cornstarch. Now, speaking of which, a good friend of ours here on the channel, Miss Donna, had run into some gluten issues, and we briefly talked about gluten style recipes, and I just omit flour. By omitting, I mean I'll use a rice flour or a almond flour, depending, respectively, in order to switch it out interchangeably, depending on which one you like, I guess. And but like say in this case here, I don't know if I cannot say, because I've never tried it, if almond flour or rice flour would make a good slurry. What you can do, let's say you don't do flour because you don't do glutens, you can use cornstarch in order to put it in here. And if that's the case, just a couple teaspoons. It does not take much cornstarch. Anybody that does any amount of baking will tell you that a little bit of cornstarch goes a long way. But we are going to take our slurry. We're going to get this in there, just like such. But yeah, you can easily substitute cornstarch for flour. Not a big deal. Like that. And then we're going to give this a stir. Good stir all the way around. We're going to bring this back up to a simmer as our next objective. Okay guys, check this out. We are down to the last two ingredients. Now, you have a couple options when it comes to the shrimp. But first thing we're going to do is grab this 1 cup 240 milliliter of heavy cream or heavy whipping cream. And we're going to go ahead and pour it in, go ahead and get it stirred in. And that'll give us a nice color, help us thicken up, make it rich. It'll be awesome. And now, it'll be decision time, so to speak, I guess. I guess it depends on how you buy your shrimp. Now, if you buy your shrimp already cooked, which, I mean, absolutely, why not? You can put it in here and just warm your shrimp through and we're done. But my shrimp is not cooked. It is deveined, it is peeled, it is ready to be cooked, but it is not cooked. So I am going to take my 1 pound, 454 grams worth of shrimp, which would be the same even if you bought, and they're large shrimp. If you bought ready to eat ones, it would still be 1 pound's worth. And I'm going to put them in the chowder here, and I'm going to bring this back up to a simmer now that we've killed our simmer with the heavy cream and the shrimp. And my shrimp is thawed. And I'm going to let this cook until my shrimp is pink. You know, until it's pink all the way through and it'll start to curl up. I'll show you when we get done. But that's how we'll know the shrimp is done. And then we'll be ready to eat. Alright, so we are looking good. Our shrimp is done. I am going to go ahead and quickly take the bay leaf out. You do not want to eat the bay leaf, ever. I mean, ever. Yeah, and here's why. You'll hear some people say that it's poisonous. It's not poisonous. But what it is your stomach can't digest it, and the edges of your bay leaves are really, really sharp, and they can actually cut you on the inside and cause just all kinds of damage. Alright, so now the next thing we're going to do is I'm just going to put a pinch of salt in here. Alright, about a couple pinches actually, about a half a teaspoon's worth. And then I'm going to follow that up with about a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And then we're going to salt and pepper to taste. So I'm going to start out with, just a little bit, just because I know that some of this stuff, mostly the adobo sauce, is a bit salty for my liking. It is fine the way it is with the Chipotles. So I don't think I'm going to need too much more. But then I'll go ahead and we're going to go ahead and give this broth a taste. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I've had this can of, or this jar of chicken broth sitting on the counter. Well, that's perfect. That's perfect. Wow. So the chicken broth I have sitting here is because while we were letting this cook, in case this gets too thick, right? Let's say you're cooking it down, all of a sudden it's just too thick for your liking, right? You can take a little bit more chicken broth or water if you don't want to open up a container of chicken broth, and put it in there to adjust your thickness to your liking. But a chowder is traditionally thick, not dense, but it's thick. So now what we're going to do is, that's perfect. Chris will probably tell me it needs a little more salt, but I think it's perfect. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this off. We'll get it off the heat and let it sit for a minute. That way when we go to serve it and eat it, it doesn't melt our face. That's the important thing, right? We want to taste it, not have it melt our face. So when I come back, we'll go ahead and have it served up and try some. All right, hold Hold on for me just 1 second. All right, so we've let her sit for a few. I mean, as you can probably, I hope you can still see, it's still blazing hot. But it's been sitting here for, oh gosh, every bit of 10 minutes. But it's time to eat. The whole house smells amazing. This looks great. There's no sense in, wasting any more time. Yeah, we can just give it a try. For sure. Look, there we are. That just looks, oh. So we will get a spoon out. Check these spoons out. They soup spoons. I forgot they even existed. Yeah, hands down. Let me get a better angle on you for you. It's been an event. So real quick, check this out. I will hold that up as long as I can. But we first round ever of diced tomatoes. Yes, that is water at the bottom of it. I'll shake it up, but vegetables and fruits have a tendency to float when they're in water. It's the air that's naturally in them. But anyhow, I thought that was just really cool and I wanted to show them to you. They were so easy to do. And that gives us salsa, spaghetti sauce, tomato sauce, crushed tomatoes, and diced tomatoes so far this year. And I still have about 25 more pounds left to figure out what I'm going to do with. Oh, and Rotel. But anyhow, focus right here. It's where we're going to be. I'm so excited. Now, if you use bigger shrimp and you want it to go a little further in your stew, you can cut these up. There's no rule that says you can't. But anyhow, let's give this a try. Okay, so even with the Chipotle pepper in there and the adobo sauce, there is like no heat. But what there is the most amazing smoky flavor. It's unbelievable. But it's not so strong that you can't taste anything else. I can taste the potato. I can taste the carrot and the celery. I can taste the red pepper. Yeah, you can taste all of that. It's all perfectly subtle. Not too much, not too little of any one thing. And that shrimp is so good. So good. Oh, I'm here to tell you, this is just amazing. Like I said earlier, sorry, mouth is full. But like I said earlier, the only thing I think I would do differently, and this would be the only thing, because I don't really taste it. I mean, I do, but I don't, is the bacon. I think I will either fry it up prior to and just add a little bacon grease into the chowder, or fry it up in the pan before I add at least give it a good head start before I add the carrots, the celery, and the onion. That way it has a nice crispness to it, because we're eating this fresh enough that it shouldn't go tender, even after it's been cooked. But I think it needs that. That's my opinion. So, but that's it. Other than that, amazing. So easy to put together. Literally 30 minutes and you've got a nice, hearty chowder / soup, stew, depending on where you're at, who you are, that, it's gonna feed a crowd, or at least a small crowd, big family, and put smiles on faces. You guys really need to give this a try. Let me know if you do. Down in the comments below is awesome, or Facebook for that matter. Don't forget to check out my new website. It's more towards the business side, Mr. Smith's Kitchen for the bakery, but give it a check out. Let me know what you think. If there's anything you would do differently. I can't sell out of state yet. We're still not there. But if you're in Ohio and you're interested in me making anything for you, let me know. I can send it anywhere in Ohio. And if you live close enough to the border, I can bring it to you. I deliver in Ohio at any rate. So, I mean, if you're like in Indiana, edge of Pennsylvania, I don't know why it wouldn't be a nice day trip to go see something and say hi. But anyhow, give this a try. Let me know if you do. Tomorrow for dessert, it's gonna be a fun one. I know it is, but I'm gonna surprise you with it. I love you. I love you very much. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and you love them very much. They may need to hear, especially nowadays. The world is a crazy place. And even if they don't, it's gonna make them smile and feel good either way it goes. It's gonna make you smile and feel good to tell them, right? And if you make them some of this creamy shrimp and corn chowder, I guarantee they're gonna grin ear to ear. And you know, it's gonna lead to an afternoon, evening of conversation. And there is enough there that you could invite a couple of extra family members over, maybe a couple extra friends, neighbors, guy walking down the street, family of 3. You know, the possibilities are endless on who that you could meet with this chowder. I guarantee it. So, till tomorrow for dessert, which I highly suggest you tune into. I love you, and I will see you then. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.